Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Monday edition of Inside the 20 with myself and Keith Niebuhr. We will do our absolute best to get you as much recruiting intel inside the 20-minute mark. I joined, as I always am, by Mr. Keith Niebuhr. Keith, how you doing, big dog?
Good. Ready to get rolling.
Yeah, let's roll it, man. Hey, before we do, let's let everybody know. I know people are listening to this show wondering, where can I buy a car? Like, I need a new car. I might even need a used car. Don't know anywhere to go. We've got it for you, big dog. Caleb Schofield, Mike Patton Auto. Give Caleb a call, 334-531-0996. He's got new Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Hondas, and a fantastic used car lot. Keith knows because he used it already. All used cars have to pass a multi-point inspection before Caleb even thinks about selling them. And then after he does sell them to you, he'll back it with a free 3-month 3,000-mile warranty. The new cars come even more guaranteed with a free lifetime powertrain warranty, unlimited time, unlimited mileage. And if you're not looking for a car, but you know somebody is, Caleb will hook you up. $300, man. Send them to Caleb Schofield, Mike Patton Auto on Lafayette Parkway in LaGrange, Georgia. 334-531-0996. Keith, lots going on, man. It's a dead period for high school guys, but the transfers have been visiting. It's been full bore with those guys. But even in the dead period, Auburn has picked up 2 commitments, 2 more defensive back commitments. You were on both of them. Talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Auburn's roster, yeah, you've got DJ James coming back, Nehemiah Pritchett, Jalen Simpson, but those guys are going to be gone soon. And if you and I know this, if you wait too long, if you say, well, they're not leaving until next year, and then you recruit next cycle, then you're playing too many freshmen, which is not ideal. You want guys to be able to get in your system. I mean, I know this is not earth-shattering news here, but you want guys to get in your system, understand. Well, you want coaching staff to be able to understand what they can and can't do. And a year of practice and some light game work allows them to see that, allows them to know exactly where guys should and shouldn't be when it's their time to really step into the roster, into the lineup, So it was big for Auburn to have a significantly large defensive back haul this cycle. And that's what they've done. And they've added 2 good ones. One of them, though, really, Tyler Scott, a boundary corner out of Pebblebrook High School, just outside of Atlanta. That's a guy that everybody wanted. Bama offered him. Now, at the end, I don't know if Bama was pushing, but Texas was pushing. They got him on campus. Southern Cal was pushing. They got him on campus. LSU, which is, had phenomenal success with DBs, they were after him. So this is a significant win for Auburn. He actually signed on December 21st, but didn't announce until the All-American Bowl over the weekend. Auburn had to keep that a secret, and he made them promise. I don't want you telling anybody, and they didn't, as far as we know. They didn't tell us, obviously. And we put 2 and 2 together based on talking to sources with other schools and all that stuff. But significant pickup because, again, and he's only a 3-star. I think he's going to move up, Jeffrey, after the All-American Bowl. He had a great week. There's some questions about his length. I mean, he's 6'2", but he's not maybe as long as a normal 6'2". I don't know.
Right.
Questions, but no, that's the only question. Everything else seems to be there. He seems to check all the boxes. Great instincts. And he can play multiple positions. I mean, I know we're saying boundary corner, but boundary corner means you probably can play safety too.
Sure.
So, big kid, 6'2", 185, 190 in that range. Really earned his offers. This wasn't a guy that got him after his junior year. He was committed to Arkansas State. Schools like Auburn, South Carolina came in, and then he just exploded as people watched the film. So a big pickup. The second one, CJ Johnson out of Texas. A safety. And that's one that, Wesley McGriff, Coach Crime, as they call him, he offered him at Louisville where he worked previously. And then he came into Auburn. And within a week of being at Auburn, had already offered him again. And then from there, I think Zach Etheridge really took over. And Zach's going to be coaching safety. So it was imperative that he got to know this guy. And they think highly of him, a high 3-star guy. High 3-star guys are great for Auburn. They've had their best success with those guys.
Sure.
Auburn's not getting a lot of 5-star DBs and hasn't since you and I have been covering them, and it hasn't mattered. They've got
right.
top guys in the NFL. They've developed these guys. They've been able to not just develop, but identify good talent. I'll give you a couple examples. Daniel Thomas, mid 3-star. Roger McCreary, a little bit of a high 3-star. Jalen Simpson, I think he was sort of a 4, but was a underlooked 4. And Auburn beat out Missouri for him, although he had some other big offers. But with Tyler Scott, if you're an Auburn fan, Jeffrey, I haven't even let you talk yet. If you're an Auburn fan, you're looking at beyond the rankings. You're saying, who did we beat to land somebody? And man, in the last 3 years, they ain't beat anybody to land. A couple guys here and there,
Not
right?
upper tier SEC
A
schools.
couple guys here or there. So in this cycle, Keldrick Falk, he beat FSU among others. Believe me, he had everybody else after him too. Duron Reed, you beat LSU. I mean, you
Jeremiah Cobb,
you beat Clemson, legitimately beat Clemson. Connor Lew, you beat Miami, which has, as last I checked, the number 4 class in the country. So you have legitimate wins. Now, one class isn't going to turn your program around, not in football,
Kay and Lee.
But they're on the right track.
Kay and Lee was another guy I wanted to throw in there. Huge win. Sylvester Smith.
Week, by the way, had a great week. I'm going to write about that in a little bit. A great week at the All-American Bowl. He's only 5'9" and like 3/4, but was maybe one of the best 2 cover corners, Jeffrey, out there the whole week. So, again, another significant win. They had more significant wins in these last 4 weeks than I would say Brian Harson's staff had in 2 cycles. And really, Gus's last cycle wasn't strong because he got fired at the end. There was uncertainty. So it's been a while. It's been
a lot of momentum going into this week, Keith. Auburn picked up 2 transfer guys yesterday on Sunday, and both of them defensive linemen, Messiah Nasili Kite from Maryland, Lawrence Johnson from Purdue. And Keith, I was looking at something before the show, man. Auburn has 28 commitments, 21 high school, junior college guys, 7 transfers. The majority of those 28, 24 of those 28 come from 3 positions: DB, D-line, and O-line. You've got 8 defensive backs. 8 defensive backs. You've got 9 defensive linemen, and you've got 7 offensive linemen. You've got 1 wide receiver, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 tight end. 24 of the 28 come from 3 different positions. And listen, they're not done at any of those 3 positions. You saw Auburn still going after a transfer with Trevez Johnson, who committed to Missouri. But if Auburn can upgrade that room, and this goes for any room, any group, they're going to do so in the portal if they can. Offensive lineman, still after Damian George, or he's still a possibility. There's a couple of other offensive linemen as well.
Well, you might as well, Jeffrey, because you can sign – for these next 2 years, you can sign as many, because the NCAA's got this what deal the next year. You sign as many guys as you want, as long as you don't go over your 85. So you should be doing this, especially Auburn, which had let's be honest, an incredible amount of needs. But I can't believe they signed that many from those 3 position groups, Jeffrey, because when you look back, the minute Brian Harsin got on campus 2 years and about 2 weeks ago, we're all thinking, okay, they got to address the elephant in the room. They need offensive linemen. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. They didn't do it the next year through the transfer market. I mean, it was unbelievable, and now look where you're at. So now you had no choice, but at least if you're an Auburn fan, it's not just that you're getting guys, it's that now you maybe have a little faith, Jeffrey, that they see the obvious and are going to attack that, are going to go after that and say, let's get this done. Let's get these spots cleaned up. So, we don't know how good these guys are. We don't know how anyone, but the effort is being made to fill these gaps, which too often the last few years, you didn't even see it really. It was bizarre,
There was no competition at these positions because the depth was so weak. There wasn't any. I mean, it was hopefully we can find 5 guys to put in the offensive line that are decent, that are average, that aren't liabilities. But now you look at the offensive line they've got coming in. You got 2 transfers in Gunnar Britton, Dylan Wade, former starters at 4-year schools, and then you've got Xavier Miller, the junior college guy, coming in with 2 years to play. Clay Whedon, Connor Lew, and Tyler Johnson. 3 guys that we expect.
Yeah. Jeffrey, if Xavier Miller, a tackle, is where they need him to be when he gets there, and Dylan Wade, who's 6'4" and is a tackle, but maybe he could. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
No, yeah, I hear you.
We're going to be trying to find the best 5 guys,
right?
And maybe that gives you some flexibility, but all of a sudden you at least have 2 proven tackles coming in. They've played at the G5. Sometimes look, Auburn's had some success with G5 transfers. Sometimes those guys are better than you think, individual pieces on those schools. But, Gunnar Britton, you mentioned, number 3 tackle in the transfer portal for rankings for On 3. Dylan Wade, I think, was a number 20, and some people think he's better than the other.
Right.
Britton. So they got, out of all their tackle targets, I think they got 2 of their top 3 targets.
Sure.
That's significant because when you look at everybody else in the country needed tackles too, basically. Almost 98% of the programs. And Auburn went out and identified, and we always say it's tough because everybody else needs them too. but they went and got the two of the three guys they wanted, I'd say.
And really had good ends with both of those guys.
Yeah, that helps.
And listen, Auburn's not done yet. You got Micah Mazuka, the interior offensive lineman who's going to be making a commitment, I believe, tomorrow night. Auburn's right in the thick of it, man. I've got them trending up as of today.
Where's he from? Baylor? Is he Baylor?
He's from Baylor. Sure is. He's from Baylor. You get those three guys. You get two tackle who have played tackle. But the thing about Dylan Wade, now Gunnar Britton is your prototypical, when I say that, 6'6", 6'7" offensive tackle. Dylan Wade's more like 6'4", and Micah Mazuka, he's probably 6'5". But these guys are so versatile, man. You're looking for the 5, and you've got guys behind them with talent. They may not have the experience, but like I said, you're creating competition, man, and that's is a talented 2 deep that Auburn hasn't had on the offensive line in a long time.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Wright really showed a lot.
Jeremiah Wright, yes, I can't forget him.
Last year. And there may be some younger guys that are ready to step
in.
I mean, Jeffrey, it wasn't that many years ago where, Auburn didn't know who the right tackle was going to be, and by default, Robert Leff won the job. He ended up having a hell of a year.
Damn sure did.
Matter of fact,
two-star.
He's probably been their best right tackle since that time. He's probably been the best one. So, you really don't know. You just don't know who may step up. But they're addressing needs. Obviously, quarterback. We talked about this on the show Sunday night. That's got to be addressed. It has nothing to do whether you have confidence in Robbie Ashford or Holden Gerner or not, or Hank Brown. Hank Brown's going to be a true freshman. Gerner hasn't really, was a true freshman last year, and Robbie's still establishing himself. You got to get that room has got to get better. I mean, you need more guys there because injuries happen. I mean, even if Robbie's your guy, think about how many shots he takes in a game because of all the running he does. Then you better have a 2 and a 3. And a few years ago, Maryland ended up having to play like a linebacker or quarterback because they were running out of bodies. So you don't want that to happen. But you're right; they still have a lot of needs, but they're. I feel like I mentioned Sunday night. I feel and I know you do too. I feel a lot better about where they are now.
Sure,
than they were 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. They're getting there. This doesn't mean they're going to win 11 games.
Right.
Right now, they're in survival mode. Next year, it'll be in build-up mode. You know what I mean?
You really just these guys that they're adding, the roster they're putting together, the depth they're building is your goal here is to be competitive, right? In the first year.
Yeah.
You want to be competitive. And
if you could catch lightning in a bottle, maybe.
Sure. Hell, it's happened at Auburn many times.
That's right.
Many times.
Lightning in a bottle with a bunch of stiffs. You gotta have some talent.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
Every coach that's come in, and I think there's been 3 in the past 20 years that have come into Auburn. First year, they're undefeated or playing for some type of championship. But the one common goal the one common theme of all those guys is they had the freaking players. They had talent. They needed direction. They needed some chemistry. They needed some guidance and some luck to come their way. So, Keith, he talks about Micah Mazuka. He's going to be announcing Tuesday night. I really feel like Auburn's going to Nick Marner, the 6'6", 6'7" wide receiver from Cincinnati via Hawaii, will be making an announcement. The quarterback position, though, everybody wants to know about that, including you and me. I mean, we're not sitting here acting like we know what's going on because we don't. I don't. I think you've got a little bit of better behind the scenes.
I do
feel.
Well, look, we know
maybe there's some wheels in motion.
We know them. Well, we know that I don't know. We know that the main guys that were entered the portal in the last month, Auburn took a look at all of them, took a big look, and we know that Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina was going to visit Auburn, was probably going to end up at Auburn, but academically that didn't work out. So they're doing all their due diligence. Let's put it that way. Look, they may land somebody in the next week. We don't know, but if they don't, would you like to have somebody there in the spring? Of course, but a veteran guy is going to understand what to do. Right? The plays are the same. What's like they mentioned on the show last night. The plays are the same. The terminology is a little different. So a guy would have to learn some terminology. If you don't like somebody, if you're down to a group of guys and you're not sold on those guys completely, I don't think there's a real harm in waiting, because after spring practice, there's going to be solid players that enter the portal too. Now, these guys may be a little less proven, but a second stringer behind an all-conference quarterback may be pretty damn good, may be better than a guy that, has 3 years of starting experience at school X or school Y.
Yeah.
You just don't know that, but they're doing their homework. We know that.
Yeah.
We know that, and we look. And people say, well, why don't you have new names? Well, we had all the names. There's not many guys left in the portal right now. Now it's kind of like, go ahead, Jeffrey.
When I say kind of behind the scenes wheels are turning, I mean that the coaches aren't panicking like some of the fans are. Oh my God, we missed Leary, we've missed Grayson McCall, and here's Spencer Sanders, and who's the other one that just went to NC State, Brendan Armstrong.
Yeah,
0 for 4 it's what it looks like, but there's not as much panic. And Keith, I thought you made there's not as much panic inside that facility as there is on these message boards. And Keith, I thought you made a fantastic point last night. Nick Marshall.
Well, he didn't arrive at Auburn until the summer.
Yeah,
a lot of Auburn's best transfers didn't arrive until the summer. Jack Driscoll, offensive tackle, Casey Dunn, the center that was very good. There's been more. I mean, look, that was a different situation. You didn't have this early transfer portal. Right. However, it shows you that a guy can come in late and pick things up and be just fine. Now you're thinking, okay, but you'd like to have what is it? One in the hand is what's the you know what I mean? It's 2 in the bush.
One.
You'd rather you'd rather know you've got somebody right now. Obviously, no kidding.
1 in the hand is 2 in the bush.
Yeah, I think that's what it means. But you'd rather know that you have somebody right now, right? But
yes.
It doesn't always work out that way. So, and by the way, who knows what the next week holds? I mean, there's been a lot of surprises transfer portal wise so far. I think every school has been a little surprised, and these kids are Auburn had a visitor this weekend, the defensive lineman from Kentucky,
Justin Rogers.
He was supposed to go to Miami and then showed up at Auburn. So we think that as these guys get older, there's going to be less drama. There's more drama with the school guys. I don't think the colleges know these guys are even showing up sometimes. It's such a free for all, but it looks like Auburn's had a pretty solid plan here. They've 2 of the 3 biggest needs they've been addressing, and they've certainly been working on the quarterback position and again doing their due diligence. So.
Guys, we're going to be keeping an eye on 2-minute warning here. Guys, Jay had this list last night. Dante Thornton, the wide receiver from Oregon. Nick Mardner, we talked about him earlier. I think he's a guy, Keith, you talk about surprises, man. He would be a guy I would be surprised if he didn't come to Auburn.
Yeah.
He's got Auburn and Cal right now. He's got a longstanding relationship with Marcus Davis, something that Dante Thornton does not. Thornton visited back in December. Marcus Davis was not announced as Auburn's coach until either late December or January. He was not here. Bryson Green, Spencer Sanders, one of his top targets at Oklahoma State, visited last week. We talked about Mazuka, the interior offensive lineman for Baylor, should have or is planning to make his decision Tuesday night. I kind of like Auburn there, but again, I wouldn't be surprised by any of this, man. What really surprised me with these is like Javez Johnson, the defensive back from Florida, had a long-standing relationship with Crime, had a long-standing relationship with T. Gray at South Carolina, and he ended up going to Missouri.
The one that surprised me was Dylan Johnson, the running back.
Oh, yeah, Washington.
From Mississippi State going to Washington. Why that's surprising. And Washington's got an up-and-coming program. People think they can compete for the Pac-12 championship next year. Great coach, great young coach, but or up-and-coming coach. But he's got like a 5-month-old kid. I thought he's from Mississippi. He's from the Delta.
Close to home, right?
Yeah, it was weird, but maybe he's thinking, hey, it might just be 10 months, 11 months, and mom and pop will help with the baby, and we'll go from there. But
playing time is just trumping
relationships. Spencer Sanders, are we thinking that Auburn is not going to? Do we know?
Okay, I'm not as concrete in that as some others.
Yeah,
I think he's still in play.
Yeah,
he's there if Auburn decides to move on him. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's not like I know some insight in it, but
yeah,
I have heard some things from good sources that I don't think he's completely off the board. I just don't think they're making a big push at this point. And this was yesterday. What's today? Monday. Yeah, yesterday afternoon.
Ole Miss is involved with him.
Ole Miss he was visiting Ole Miss according to our Ole Miss affiliate at On3. He absolutely did not visit Auburn. I feel confident in that. But I do feel like if Auburn makes a push, they would be a serious contender, and I don't think that that's completely off the board just yet.
Interesting.
So we talked about Mazuka announcing Tuesday night. Damian George is another guy that's going to be announcing a decision in the next few days. Brian Batty, that USF,
That's an interesting one,
isn't it? Showed up yesterday for a one-day official visit. Rushed for 1,200 yards at USF. Small guy, 5'8", 165. Little.
I think Freeze has had success with multi-purpose guys. Versatile running backs.
Justin Rogers is another one. We talked about him.
That would be big. That's a guy. But they're battling LSU, and we think Alabama for. Mm-hmm. So again, who are you beating to land guys? Well, that would be pretty big.
That would be a big win. We'll be tracking all of that in the next few days, man. The dead period right now until Thursday, and then visits will resume this weekend. Auburn can add guys up until January the 18th. That's the last day guys can add classes as far as transfers go. So there's still about 9 days left before the last transfer can be added. So we'll be tracking it all at Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member of that site, man, go check us out. $29.99 right now and through August until September. You don't pay a penny more. Until then, we've got all the coverage from every sport. We even had basketball recruiting this past weekend. We're going to have more basketball recruiting this weekend. Going to have a big weekend, I'm guessing, of visits this weekend. Keith, got a junior day coming up at the end of the month. I'm sure some of these 2024 guys will be coming in. So we'll be trying to track it all, man. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody subscribing. For Keith, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See ya.